Well, I am getting ready to go for a little biking adventure. I'm gonna go kind of on a trail, which is a little bit different. And we're gonna go down by the lake. We're gonna take the trail into town. And and I already need to go back home because I did two things wrong. I didn't put on my sunglasses and I didn't take my phone. And the phone's especially important if I'm going on a trail on this bike and I have a problem. I need a phone. And this has the added benefit, as we'll see Dottie when we go back in here. It's too bumpy even to take her in her little trailer. It's going to be too bumpy for that. She'd be really uncomfortable. There's Dottie. Dottie, I need the phone. I need to swap out these glasses or put on the sunglasses. What do you think? I'll be back soon, I promise. This has, compared to my old bike, it says pretty thin tires. And I just want to make sure I'm recording here. I am. It's got pretty thin tires, makes it a little less stable. And I notice the potential for falling comes when I try to do a U-turn. I do a turn that's a little bit too tight. It can be problematic. So no U-turns, and soft sand can be a problem. And I'm just going to have to go slow on this trail. It's pretty bumpy right here. I hope the trail's better. I hope the trail is better. We could find out pretty quick if this may be an incredibly bad idea. Who knows? I'm out here, keep a sharp eye out for rattlesnakes because my friend Frugal RV gal and Deborah Dickinson had a rattlesnake in their camp, and they're just not that far. They're just a few miles from me, so there are rattlesnakes out here. So this is still pretty bumpy, but this isn't the main trail. And as soon as I got out here, it's like, that sounds like a rattle. It wasn't a rattle, it's just an insect. So this is a little sketchy. But like I said, a little ways down here, it'll get to a wider, maybe smoother trail. And here it is. We're going to go first down to, this goes into, I think, a state park area. So we'll check that out first. It's a little bumpy, but it's okay. It's smoother than the other trail. And when we get up here, we'll check out the state park area, then turn around, retrace our steps, and go in the other way. All right, this has happened before where the handlebars slipped down. I think I got it properly tightened now. Leave them up where they are. So the other direction, it goes all the way into town. So we'll be going into town. We may visit a place or two. We'll just see. So this is actually fairly smooth. I don't know if you can see up there on the hill on the other side of the street, a lone trailer up there. And what I'm going to tell you is rumor. Someone just told me this, and it could be complete fiction. So keep that in mind. But the guy that, the owner of that trailer, the story goes, bought that property and was going to live in his trailer while he built a house there with this beautiful view. And he started having problems getting electric, sewer, water, everything. And it turns out he's not able to do anything that he wanted to do. So I don't know what the current situation is, whether he's even there or not. I haven't seen anybody walking around out there. It says, all vehicles must stay on roadway. Okay, that makes sense. And looks like there's vault toilets here. And it's pretty much just a parking lot. And the only trail I see is the one I came in on. Hello. Oh, there's a sign here. Let's see what that sign says. It's called the Lakeview Trail. And it does allow, see, it has got you can hike, you can take your dog, you can horseback ride, you can look with binoculars, you can cross-country ski and bike. So we're biking, so we're okay. So it looks like that maybe it doesn't go right down to the shore. It's just lake view, it says. So we'll just, so now we're retracing those steps. And it's funny, they said you can ride all these things and you can have binoculars and look. So my recent binocular experience is I bought a pair last year. I was fairly satisfied with them. I was wholly satisfied, and they disappeared. I don't know where they went. I couldn't find them. So I bought another pair on Amazon. They were delivered, and I hated them. They were kind of junky. My friend Charlie handed me his, and the comparison was pretty stark. So I returned them, and I did a little bit of research, bought a little bit more expensive pair. They'll be delivered this next week, and we'll see how they do. I think with, one thing is I want to have a way to attach my binoculars to a tripod. Because, the more powerful they are, the more shaky they are when you're trying to hold them. And I'd also like a nice pair of binoculars to be used for looking at stars and planets and stuff. I know they're not telescopes, but I think you can see some pretty interesting stuff. Certainly of the moon. My family, and I'm going to put a picture of this. I believe it's my sister Annie, if she watches this, will correct me if I got the number of greats wrong, but I believe this is my great, and maybe third great, either 2 or 3 greats grandfather. And look at what an interesting character he is. One of the things that he did is he was a astrophotographer in the 19th century, and he invented I need to stop for a second because I heard a sound like maybe I stopped recording. So let's see. No. Still recording. He invented a device, a mechanical device that would, he could mount a camera on it and do a long exposure and track the moon. So in my great uncle's huge house that we used to go to in the summers in upstate New York on Cayuga Lake, there were enormous, giant photographs of black and white photographs of the moon on the walls. That's always caused me to be fascinated with looking at the moon and photographs of the moon. And all those wonderful photographs were stolen. There were tons of artifacts in this huge house that after, I believe it was after my great uncle died, and it was still, the house was still in the estate. There was a robbery and they just cleaned the place out. It's just so sad that that happened. So we've long since passed where we go to camp. So and the trail is a little wider. It's more like a road, but it's a little rougher than it was. And it almost looks like the trail's disappearing on me a little bit. We'll see how we do here. I hope I didn't miss a turn. It kind of looks like I might have missed a turn. Well, we'll see. We'll go a little bit further. No, we got the trail again, and it looks like it narrows a little bit here, and it might get a little smoother. Let's see. One good thing about this is straight ahead you see Eagle Nest, and that's where this trail is eventually headed. Charlie says it comes out by the Valero and the post office and the Rockies Market. So, and we'll come back on streets, on side streets, instead of the trail again, so it'll be a little bit more comfortable. Ooh, that's a big hole. Some critter lives in there. So I'm going to show you this house that I'm talking about too. In a little village called Lavana, where my great uncle's house was, and this is the house. And it was a place of great adventure for a young child like me when I was growing up. I just loved everything about being there. I think probably in the 60s, in the heyday of when I went there, I'm gonna guess my great uncle was probably in his 70s. Sure seemed like he was in his 90s. But what did I know? I was just a little kid. And I remember he used to call me old timer. Old timer, he would call me. There were a big rule when you were at his house says, you're welcome to use or borrow anything that you see, just put it back exactly where you found it. Guys, does this look like much of a trail to you? I guess it's still a trail. This is interesting. It looks like it's disappearing. Is it? Or is it still a trail? I guess it is. There's a little bench out here. So we're still on the trail. I've seen people out here jogging. I would think that'd be very dangerous. There's lots of holes and rocks and stuff. But we're definitely on the right track. Anyway, so like my father would say, if there's a screwdriver in the middle of the factory floor, use it, but put it back in the middle of the floor when you're done with it. And what do I mean by factory? Was there a factory? Yeah, there was a big red factory, and it was a ketchup factory. My family was in the ketchup business, Cayuga ketchup, back around the turn of the last century up to about, I think, 1915 or so was when they shut it down. They couldn't compete with the big boys. Um, But a good example is there was what we called the old kitchen. There was a new kitchen and the old kitchen. The new kitchen was in the more modern part of the house and had all the appliances in it. The old kitchen had like a coal burning stove that was used for cooking, a coal room. And back there, though, my uncle kept a little refrigerator stocked with root beer. And I, of course, would go back there for root beer all the time. And back in those days, there weren't twist-off caps. You needed a bottle opener to open your root beer. And one time we were there on the weekend. We went for lots of weekends. We lived in Rochester, about an hour drive away. And I inadvertently put that bottle opener in my pocket. Didn't realize it. And we went home Sunday night, and the phone rang about 8 o'clock at night. And it was my uncle calling, wanting to know where the heck his bottle opener was. And honestly, I think I was so embarrassed that I fibbed and I said I didn't know, even though it was in my pocket. I was scared. So I'm a little ashamed of that. I didn't tell the truth. I fibbed and said I didn't know where it was, but I do remember it was in my pocket. That's a definite that's a definite thing that happened. And Uncle George, if you're listening from heaven, I apologize not only for taking your uh, bottle cap remover. I especially apologize for not owning it and being honest about it. You know, and I remember my stepmother thought it was ridiculous he's calling about it. And you know what? I didn't think it was ridiculous. It, yeah, was a 15 or 20 cent bottle opener. But you know what? It was his bottle opener. And he had every right to expect it to be left where it was. He's kind enough to supply us with a nonstop supply of root beer for free to his relatives. So anyway, sorry, Uncle George. And by the way, if you're wondering, George the cat is named after Uncle George. And he's just as ornery and stubborn as Uncle George was. The personality fits. There's a picnic table out here. And guess what? We're about to arrive at the Valero on the trail here. So, Charlie, you weren't kidding. You're absolutely right. I almost lost the trail a couple of times, but I stuck with it. And we are about to arrive at where the Valero in the post office is, kind of across the street from it. Oh, and this is probably the roughest part so far here. Keep the speed down, Rob. There's a fence here, but there's a break in it, and it looks like we're going to go right up to the road here. Someone mows this, keeps it clean, keeps it passable. We made it. And it's on the right next to Rose of Taos Eagle Nest Boutique. There's the Valero. And here we are on the sidewalk, which I don't ride on the sidewalk on my bike here when it's real busy. There are a lot of tourists and other folks. I either walk it or I ride in the road. But I don't see a soul on the sidewalk. And here's the Laguna Vista Lodge. It's got a vacancy, it says. So this place is open. I didn't think it was open. It's definitely open. And this is where the famous saloon is, and I doubt it's open yet, but I definitely want to get in here and do a interview with someone that works there that knows the history, because I think it's probably pretty fascinating. And this is the saloon. It's not open yet. But let me show you what I'm talking about here. So what do we have here? Paint night, Friday, August 2nd, 6 to 8 p.m. Paint night with Brit. I don't know what that's all about. And here we have the green chili cheeseburger challenge, August 17th, Eagle Nest Enchanted Park, 2 p.m. The best green chili burger and a pie eating contest. I'm going to be there for that. You're going to see that video. I guarantee you that. This is the outdoor area, I think, associated with the saloon. It's pretty nice. Look, it goes back in there. It goes, there's a courtyard back here. And it's a really interesting looking place that we'll do a video on. When it's open, we'll come and we'll ask somebody to give us a tour and tell us about the history. I know one of the pieces of history that I heard about is a ghost of a widow that lived here. Their husband left and never returned. So that should be a pretty interesting story. And we'll see what else we can see here on a Sunday at 11 a.m. See what else we can see here. I see people down there, so we're going to switch over to riding on the street. There's also cabins here you can stay in. I've shown this before, but I'm going to show you again. This is a RV park right in the middle of town. It's pretty expensive. The last I heard was there weren't any monthly or weekly rates. And I believe the daily rate was about $45 for 30 amp and about $55 for 50 amp. So it's right in the middle of town, which is a big advantage. And the other thing that I really like, if you go down in here, there's some real primo sites with views of the lake. See these sites that are right at the end here have beautiful, beautiful views of the lake. And I see there are open sites here. There are a few, not many, but there are a few. August is pretty prime time around here, and I see a Lakeview site that is definitely, probably one of the best sites is, actually there are two sites here that are open. Beautiful views in these sites, just gorgeous views. 41 and 42 look like they're open. And just look at that view of the lake that you get here. So certainly if you can afford it, I think it would be worth every penny to stay with a beautiful view and be steps away from the middle of Eagle Nest. So I see at least 3 or 4 sites that are available. There's another one over there to the left that I see. There's 2 sites here, 34 and 35 are open. Looks like 25 is open, 24. So like I said, if you can afford the rates, here's a nice shady one that's open, number 20. It's a beautiful little park right in the heart of Eagle Nest, right in the heart. I'm going to go up to the road here. South Tomboy Drive. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go down to go back, and we're going to navigate our way there on South Tomboy Drive. There is I see a stop sign here. So let's set a good example and obey the traffic law, even though there's no one around. But isn't it about what you do when no one's looking? But actually everybody's looking because I've got it on film. So that doesn't really count. Doesn't really count. It's a big wedge-shaped building. Here's the church. You got to be quiet. There's services going on right now. Eagle Nest Baptist Church. So these 2 big buildings here. I think they both have stuff to do with horses, I bet, because it looks like corrals. I see horses out there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful day. Beautiful day. This is the school to the right here, Eagle Nest Elementary and Middle School. And we got another stop sign coming up here. So let's, the 3rd Street and Lake Avenue. We're going to stop right here, full stop. And the next turn is going to be onto, I don't know if it's marked, but I believe it's the No Name. Oh, it is marked. No Name Trail. And this is going to go right up to our home base. And we'll get the beautiful, beautiful view of the placid, sparkling Lake Eagle Nest. Look at that, guys. Look at that. There's a guy here living in his trailer while he's building his beautiful lake view home. Look at that. Beautiful. This is the only time I've ever encountered any traffic on this road. First time. This is it. Some very nice homes, I'm sure you can see on either side here. Look, RVs. And that means we're home. I can even see mine way off in the distance there. I left my awning all the way out, which is never a smart idea. If I keep doing that, I'm gonna have a big problem someday. There's a little trail here that keeps me off that busy road. It'll get me to the little bumpy here for maybe 30 feet. And then I'm back up to pavement and into the entrance without getting on that busy road and taking any kind of risk. And here we are. Home again, jiggity jig. Hello. And here we are. And if you're curious about the sound quality, right in front of us, that's the gate we went through to take the trail. And if you're curious about the sound, what I've done this time is I'm recording the sound on my DJI mic directly onto the mic with the highest quality sound recording available on the mic, and I'll just join it to the images here, and I think the sound quality is going to be pretty good. This is the bumpiest part of the whole trip right here. This is it, and we have arrived home, and we can lock up the bike and throw the charger on. I believe the charger is in here. It's a little wet. That's not good. I didn't pack that away in a very smart way, so we'll let that sit out and dry. And it doesn't mean we can't lock her up. The chances of me losing my bike here to a thief are almost zero, I would say, given the environment here. But is it a good idea to still lock it up and take a couple extra minutes? You bet. Don't. And we'll say hi to Dottie. And there's my Dottie dog. Hi, Dottie. I'm home. I promised you I'd be home soon. And so where is George, you might ask? Well, I know exactly where George is. George will be resting comfortably right there. There's George. Hey, Georgie. Hey, kitty, kitty, kitty. Well, and a little bit too much backlighting there, huh? Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. How long is it? 34 minutes. I hope you like this one. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.